The Department of Military Veterans has released the Military Veterans Pension Regulations for public inputs. This is in accordance with Section 24 of the Military Veterans Act. The draft Military Veterans Pension Regulations 2025 have been published for public comment. To discuss this, we're now joined by the Acting Head of Communications for the Department of Military Veterans, Mxolisi Mkhonza. Mxolisi, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. This is, of course, a very controversial piece of regulation, very specifically because there's been there's a long-standing history around military veterans, particularly those who were freedom fighters, who have never been able to truly gain the benefit of state care thereafter, who are sitting up and asking questions, is this finally the moment we get clarity on our standing? Will these draft regulations provide clarity there too?
Yes, the draft regulations intended to change the current regulations that are already in place, which were launched by the Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans in 2023, Mr. Makwetla at the time. And between then and now, there has been issuing of military veterans pensions to deserving military veterans, but we have noticed that there are some gaps that need to be rectified with regard to the implementation and the rollout of the military veterans pension. So there's been a bit of discrepancy.
What are some of those gaps?
Those gaps are people that don't qualify to be getting the funds, but they are getting them due to the gaps that we're trying to fix with the current regulations. These are the gaps looking at people who are generally just military veterans, but they are not deserving to be receiving the pensions because they don't qualify. They're not.
What would exclude a military veteran from qualifying?
It's things like age, for instance. If it's a military veteran's pension and you're under 60, obviously you do not qualify for that. So what we're trying to fix with the military veterans regulations is things like that, where people there was no means test before, so now we've added an element of having a means test for the regulations, so that the right people are getting the money when
means test means we test to check if you have other form of income, and if that is substantial, you then don't qualify. Would that be the case even for military veterans over the age of 60?
Absolutely. What we're trying to do is look at everyone who's currently applied and some people who will apply after the regulations are approved, so that we make sure that everyone who deserves to be getting the military veterans pension is getting it. The main challenge right now is that everyone is qualified. As long as you're a military veteran, you are able to get the military veteran pension. So obviously that depletes our funds in that people who deserve to be getting the money are not getting the money because there is no money to give.
How much are we talking about here?
The amount is 5,775 per month, which is basically the old age grant times 2.5 times, which is 2,310 times 2.5 times. It then becomes 5,775 per person for basically until they pass away. And if they pass away, then the dependent or the widow or anyone else who's left behind gets 50% of that money for life. So these are the type of things we're trying to regulate with the current regulations.
And what is the current fiscal allocation for the military veterans pension?
It's already quite strained, actually. The current regulation, the current allocation is 149 million rand, and already of that, we've already spent over 49, if not 53 million rand already in the past.
And how many beneficiaries are currently receiving this grant?
Currently, people that are getting, it's around 4,379 that have received in the previous financial year. We have around 25,000 applications, and we're already processing 15,000 of those applications. So already, with the amount of time that is left in the year, we're not looking at seeing the end of the year with the amount that we've been allocated. The 149 million that we've been given is not enough.
Yeah, the 4,379 beneficiaries that currently receive the grant, do they receive any other form of state grant, whether it be an old age grant or an old age pension grant, a disability grant? Ostensibly, many military veterans might have sustained battle scars and injuries that would, in the ordinary sense of things, qualify them for a disability grant, for instance. Do they receive multiple state grants?
Yes, and that's also one of the things we're trying to curb, because people are now dipping everywhere, including people that did have pension in their previous employment, for instance. Once they leave that employment, they didn't come to apply within the military veterans pension, and that is also adding to the problem of running out of funds before time.
Yeah, so what then are going to be done with the additional 10,000 applications that are not being processed from the 25,000 applications that you've received?
We are hoping that with the regulations, as soon as they get approved and everything gets promulgated as an act, then we then get to process them based on the new regulations and how different they are from the previous regulations. That would obviously help us to limit the number of people that are getting from the fiscus, so that the people that have not been able to apply, have not been able to qualify, are able to then get money going forward.
Ostensibly, there'll be many recipients and beneficiaries who will not be happy with the changes, who will feel as though that they're once again being excluded. I mean, not too long ago, in fact, a few years ago, we saw a sitting minister being held hostage by military veterans, saying, please hear our plea, hear our plight. Many of those military veterans might feel that they've never been listened to. And these regulations may not necessarily include those, but it certainly will exclude some who are currently beneficiaries, exacerbating that problem. How does the department intend on managing that fallout?
I think it can be expected that people will be upset, but we are hoping that we get the right people in line with getting the military veterans pension, because currently it's everyone, like I'm saying, everyone is getting the money that is not necessarily due to them. So the expected fallback or the expected pushback would be for people that were probably getting before and unjustly so, and then I expected to pay the money back, and then that could also cause another problem, because ultimately it's not their fault that the law at the time allowed them to get money, whether you're not.
Yeah, but then you can't punish somebody for having done something what would have been within the legal parameters of the time. What does a neat eligibility criteria look like?
It basically looks at the state of your current living situation. If you're earning perhaps over 100,000 as a single individual, then you don't qualify for the military veterans pension with the new regulations. Currently, there's really no limits to how you're eligible or how you're disqualified. So a lot of things that are now being supported as the draft regulations now, they will really put curbs into how we manage who qualifies and who doesn't qualify. And unfortunately, those people who did qualify before and were getting money before, they will have to recover those money. The government has to recover that money back.
Well, it says the department modeled how many beneficiaries would then be excluded and how much money would be saved if the draft regulations as are passed through.
We are unable to get more money out of National Treasury to get funding for more military veterans. So the solution to that is really to curb the numbers of people that are getting already. We have not done an actual fiscal, and now I cannot give you a number right now of exactly how many people will be saved or how many people will then be able to get more money. But definitely with cutting people that are not deserving of the money, it would really put some money back into our pockets to give to the people that deserve it.
Yeah. How long is this public comment window open for?
Yeah, it's been open now since the 25th of July until the 25th of August. It is normally 30 days, which is that other week, Monday. And until 4 o'clock, we are accepting all public comments. There's no format that you need. There's no form that you need to fill in. It's just a matter of sending an email to pensionreg@dmv.gov.za or handing in your comments or your inputs at our offices in Pretoria at 328 Festival Street, Hatfield.
Okay, to the military veterans potentially listening right now who might ask themselves, once I submit my public comment, what then happens in the rest of the process? Walk us through the rest of the process until these regulations are promulgated.
Okay, where we are now is actually the second step of the changing of the regulations. The first step is then drafting a draft of the regulations, which was done. Secondly, we are now at the public comment stage, where everyone then gets an opportunity to have an input into the regulations. The next step is then after the closing dates, the cutoff date for submissions, we then put together all those submissions, draft a final version of the regulations. Then they go through to cabinet for adoption, and then goes through to the Department of Constitutional Development and Justice for verification to make sure that it aligns with our Constitution and also the Military Veterans Act. Thereafter, the minister will then send them into law, which then repeals the previous regulations. So everything that happens after the signing changes everything that's happened before.
Yeah, Mxolisi, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, that is Mxolisi, Mxolisi Mkhonza, the acting head of communications for the Department of Military Veterans.